Hey y'all, this is for week 11 of cycle 2. We have made it almost to the end of this first semester. It has gone by so fast. You guys have learned so much, you've grown so much. But speaking of learning so much, let's talk about our memory work from this week. Hey y'all, this is for CC Cycle 2 Week 11 memory work. We are starting off with history. Tell me about the French Revolution. So, it starts off with in 1789, and instead of doing numbers this week, we are stomping in place. We're just marching. So we have in 1789. For the French Revolution, we're going to make our fancy F for French, and then for Revolution, you're going to take these two fingers on each hand, cross them, and spin them around like this. So the French Revolution. And then for began, when citizens stormed the Bastille, we ran in place really, really fast. So when citizens stormed the Bastille and fought. For this, you're going to pretend like you have a sword in your hand and you're going to shoot it forward like that. So when citizens stormed the Bastille and fought. Then for the Declaration of the Rights of Man, you're going to put your hands right here and go for the Declaration of the Rights of Man. For man, you're just going to give me a big muscle. Okay? Then for later, you're going to take your thumb and you're going to hike it this way. Later, during the Reign of Terror. For this, you're going to pretend like you have your scepter in your hand and you're going to slam it on the ground. During the Reign of Terror. For terror, you're going to pretend like you're scared. For the aristocrats, you're going to give me an A for the aristocrats. Heads, grab your head. And then for removed, you're going to pull your head to the side. And then when we say by the guillotine, you're going to roll your head around. Okay? So, let's sing the song all the way through. Here we go. In 1789, the French Revolution began when citizens stormed the Bastille and fought for the Declaration of the Rights of Man. Later, during the Reign of Terror, the aristocrats' heads were removed by the guillotine. Alright, so that was our fun history song for this week. And then for Latin, we learned our last conjugation ending. It is future perfect tense. So our first one is arrow, like we have a bow and arrow. And so we're going to shoot your arrow off into the distance. Then for eris, we have this as in snake. Then erit, we're going to use it as in bit and pretend like we're biting a huge apple and go like that. Then for aramis, we're going back to our mustache. Aratis, we have our kiss. And then errant, you're going to pretend like you're squishing an ant in between your fingers. So, the song goes like this. Arrow, eris, erit. Aramis, eritis, errant. First conjugation. Future perfect tense. So like I said, that was our last conjugation ending that we are learning. And then when we come back for week 13, we're going to go all the way back to the beginning and relearn what we have already learned. So that is Latin, and then English this week for indefinite pronouns. For the next several weeks, we're going to learn a whole list of indefinite pronouns. So I'm going to show you guys hand motions and a song that goes with it. So you can choose if you want to do the hand motions or if you prefer just learning the song to help you remember. So we're going to start with hand motions. So we have all, another, any, anybody, anyone, anything, both, each, either. So for all, you're going to take your hands and you're going to take your back hand and circle your front one. So it goes all. Then for another, you're going to put both of your hands out. Another. Then for any, you're going to spread your arms around. So we have all, another, any. Then for anybody, you're going to take your hands and you're just going to push them down your sides. Anybody. Then for any one, you're going to hold up a 1. Any 1. And then anything, you're just going to point to anything you want out in front of you. So anything. Then for both, you're going to hold up the number 2 and wiggle your fingers both. Then for each, you're going to put your hands out again. And then either, you're just going to shrug your shoulders. Either. So we have all, another, any, anybody, anyone, anything, both, each, either. Okay, so those are our hand motions. Then our song goes like this. All, another, any, anybody, anyone, and anything, both, each, either. And we're going to stop there, and the next week we'll pick up with the rest of the song, okay? Then for science, we learned what are the phases of the moon. And our song this week goes to the tune of Oh Mr. Sun, which is ironic since we're learning about the moon, but that is okay. So it goes like this. What are the phases? Phases of the moon, new crescent quarter, gibbous full. What are the phases? Phases of the moon, new crescent quarter, gibbous full. And so we talked about the different phases of the moon and what they each look like whenever we see them in the sky. And then everybody went home with a pack of Oreos and a little printout of the phases of the moon so that you were able to make your own phases at home. Then for math this week, we learned the cubes. And this was pretty difficult for us to do because our numbers went really high, a lot higher than we were used to. But that's okay. You guys did an amazing job marching around and racing your horses around while we listened to the song. So the song goes like this. 1, 8, 27, 64, 125, 216, 343, 512, 729, 1000, 1331, 1728, 2197, 2744, 3375. And so that was the cubes this week, and like I said, it was a little difficult for some of you guys to get it, but that is okay. Next week we are going to learn something else, so we are done with skip counting. And so that was a cool thing to kind of wrap up for this week. Then for geography, we learned about Europe and Asia, and we used our markers this week to trace all of our different areas that we were looking for. So the first one is Moscow, and we underlined it, and that is right here in Russia, which is this big yellow area. Then Kiev is going to be down here in the green in the Ukraine, and we circled Kiev. Then we came back to Russia, which like I said is this big yellow area, and we just put lines all the way through Russia, like that. Then next we have Siberia, and that's over here where this arrow is, and we just put a big X on that one for Siberia. And then we came back to Ukraine in this green area, and we just put dots all over the Ukraine. So we have Moscow, Kiev, Russia, Siberia, and Ukraine. So that was it for geography. Then for timeline this week, we started off with Norman conquest and feudalism in Europe. So for this one, you're going to do an N for Norman. So you have 2 fingers, your thumb, 2 fingers down. Norman conquest. And for feudalism in Europe, you're just going to stack your hands like this. So, Norman conquest and feudalism in Europe. Then after that is the Crusades. And for this, you're going to take your cross. So just take your 2 fingers, make a cross, put it in front of you, and then push it out. So, the Crusades. Then we have Zimbabwe and early Mali in Africa. For Zimbabwe, you're going to put your hands like this and make a wall in front of you. So, Zimbabwe. Then for early Mali, you're going to make an M with your hand. So that's these 3 fingers, thumb, 3 fingers down, early Mali. And then in Africa, you're going to trace your face with your hand. So you're going to go like this and bring it around. And so this is like this, like a sign for beautiful. And so you go like this in Africa. So we have Zimbabwe and early Mali in Africa. Then Aztecs of Mesoamerica. For this one, you're just going to take your pointer fingers and draw a big triangle because of the pyramid. So we have Aztecs of Mesoamerica. Then Francis of Assisi and Thomas Aquinas. So for Francis of Assisi, you're going to do your fancy F for Francis. And then for Thomas Aquinas, you're just going to give me a big T like that. So Francis of Assisi and Thomas Aquinas. Then for Japan's shoguns, we are going to pretend like we have a rocket and just go like this. Japan shoguns. And just take your hands and just push them past each other. Then our last one is Incas of South America. For this, you're just going to make your triangles and you're just going to make them all around you, however you want in the air. Alright, so let's go over the song. From the top of this week, it is Norman Conquest and Feudalism in Europe. Here we go. Norman Conquest and Feudalism in Europe. The Crusades, Zimbabwe, and early Mali in Africa. Aztecs of Mesoamerica. Francis of Assisi and Thomas Aquinas. Japan shoguns. Incas of South America. Alright, so that was actually pretty quick this week for our timeline. And then moving to learn about what we talked about with fine arts, we learned the note names and the scales. And so we learned that when a note is on a line, every good boy does fine. And then when a note is in the space, it spells the word face. And so we learned that, and then you guys got to play your song this week and learn how you're supposed to move your fingers in order to hit each note and the note names for each one. Then for science this week, we made our own solar system model with our big paper like this. And so we put stickers in our own, it's a smaller, obviously a smaller scale of what our planets are away from each other. So you can see that these are really, really close to each other and they're closer to the sun. And then this bigger planet, which is Jupiter right here, is a little bit further, and then we just keep getting further and further away, ending with Neptune all the way out here. And then we learned some fun facts about each of our planets, like the fact that 1 year on Mars takes 687 Earth days. And then for Jupiter, it spins really quickly, and 1 day on Jupiter is just only 10 hours long. And so we learned a lot of different facts about each of our planets while we put our stickers down, and we were able to sing our memory work song about our planets while we put each sticker down as well. And so that was a fun little review that we were able to tie in from last week. So that is it for week 11. I will see you guys next week for Pajama Day and our final week 12 of CC.